How do you reflect on the time with Eddie Jones, Rugby World Cup? He stood up. I remember there was one press conference where he had a quick line, so there was a lot of attention and focus and selection in the Wallabies. How do you reflect on all that?
Yeah, I actually really liked my time with Eddie. I think like the World Cup, like no one performed how they wanted to across the board. But yeah, I think like that time leading up to it, like to the World Cup, obviously we didn't win as many games as we wanted to going into the World Cup. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with him. He was like again a bit similar to Des in terms of like being quite brutal but caring. So it was like the expectations high because that's what you boys can achieve kind of thing. And me as an individual, the same thing. Like there's a few sessions there where I got absolutely sprayed just for maybe a breakdown technique or something like that. But he would always come back and would circle around after training and just be like, "Do you know why?" Like,
Mm.
and it was like everyone knew why. So he's like, "Yeah, we'll fix it," kind of thing. So it was like I really enjoyed my time with him that way. And I think when I debuted in South Africa, the week leading up, obviously they named the team pretty early in the week. It was the first test of the year, and I was shitting myself to say the least. And yeah, I was quite nervous. I was yeah, and he just came up to me in the middle of the week and he just said like, "Mate, just be yourself. Like I'm not asking you to be any other player. Just go out there and do your thing, and that's all I want from you." Yeah, and I went out that training session and probably had the best training session I had all week. Just felt comfortable, just felt calm. Yeah, and then I feel like that just led into the rest of the week and ended up making my debut that weekend. And yeah, that was super exciting. And like I have Eddie to thank for that. Like I probably wouldn't be given that opportunity if he wasn't the coach. And so I'm grateful for him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I really love hearing that, and I think debts of gratitude are super important for us to when we reflect on anything. Like who do you owe some gratitude to for the opportunity? I am interested to dig into like how it was like in tournament because from the outside looking in, it looked like an absolute shit show with you guys not being able to put together a performance or a game plan or selections. Is that what it felt like, or was it actually pretty fun?
Um, well, we had that game in Dunedin where, in terms of World Cup or just any games.
Yeah, any games, and then
Oh
into the
yeah,
World
I'll go into World Cup. But yeah, we had that game in Dunedin and we lost it to Richie hitting that penalty goal in like
Cup.
the last 2 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, we felt like we had such a good game and
That's right.
we were really building and we started how we wanted to. We were attacking how we wanted to and managing the field how we wanted to. It felt like the All Blacks were on the back foot the whole game, and then yeah, they did what they do best and closed it out in the dying minutes. But we're like obviously really pleased with how we played. We didn't win the game, but we felt like we were building. Obviously, we had that first game in South Africa. We didn't play well. We didn't play how we wanted, and each game was a little bit better. Um, and then yeah, getting to the World Cup. I don't know if it's just being in a foreign country or whatever, but you could just tell the mood kind of changed throughout the whole squad. Like boys were a little bit more nervous, coaches were a little bit more on edge.
Mm.
But I feel like that's to be expected. Like I'm not too sure if kind of most teams would be like that or not, but that's kind of what I experienced. And yeah, and then when we got into the World Cup, we had that first game against Georgia and we won it. But still didn't really like. I think that game then we were like more pleased that we won rather than like how we played because in our eyes, like looking back on it, I feel like we should have beaten Georgia by more, and we gave away like soft penalties, soft tries, things like that. And then yeah, and then we got into the Fiji game. Obviously, I had an absolute stinker. But yeah, and then I think as well like once we lost that game, it just kind of went through the roof in terms of pressure. Like we had to win the next closing games, and yeah, we ended up doing that. And I think it was more. I think the squad was like a bit more upset with how we played rather than like expectation or anything like that, because we knew we could play better. But yeah,
And did you feel that I'm a big believer in like sort of victim or fighter mentality? When things did go, how did like take Eddie and coaches aside? How did the boys respond through it all? Did you feel like stayed strong in fighting?
yeah, I think because we're obviously quite a young squad. I felt like we didn't really know how to deal with it. To be
Mm,
honest, like yeah, it was kind of one of those ones where like not many of us had been through anything like that, and
yeah,
the older boys were obviously getting smashed in terms of like their leadership and stuff like that. So I think they were a little bit like frazzled as well, and it was kind of yeah, it was. I don't think anyone really knew how to deal with it, and I found from like myself, I was kind of getting not mixed messages, but after the Georgia game, I kind of got told like, why are you sitting back? Like you kind of you're sitting back too much. You're not getting the ball enough. All that stuff. And then I went into the Fiji game trying to get my hands on the ball, and I ended up just forcing
yeah,
myself into situations that always ends up bad when you're kind of doing that. I like to play quite naturally, so when I started forcing it, I kind of just started putting myself in shit positions and that, and yeah, and then like that was like my individual experience, and then after that game, I was just like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna play how I want to play, and I was sick of trying to kind of please people and that. I'm like, I'm just gonna play my game, like,
yeah,
and that was a really I felt like a turning moment for me, like mentally, because I went out, I came off the bench. Oh, I had a session that week going into Wales because I don't think I was gonna be picked that week. I think I was gonna be fully dropped. Had a good session, like good training session, because I was just like, I'm just gonna play here. Ended up, yeah, having a good few sessions. Eddie comes up to me, he's like, mate, you're gonna be on the bench. I was like, sweet. And then same thing, just went out in the Wales game. I only came on the last 20, and we were already down like 2 or 3 tries. And I was like, I think the game, I got radioed down. It was saying, mate, I want you to play 2 phases and hit a contestable. And I was thinking on the field, I was like, fuck, we're 3 tries down. Like, so I was like, I'm just gonna play. Yeah, I'm not gonna be. I'm not be kicking it. So and then yeah, I just started playing. I was like, right, we need to put the ball. We need to move the D a little bit. We need to put the ball in space. Like I'm not gonna do that by
mm,
kicking just yet, anyway. And then yeah, we still lost the game. And then yeah, Eddie came down to me after that game and said, mate, I think you're gonna be starting next week. And I was like, I think I just did the opposite to what he told me to do. So it was pretty funny, but yeah, I think for me, like just that kind of mental switch after the obviously having a poor game,
mm,
it's pretty easy to carry that along. But I had some like good family around me, and I reached out to Quade and had a few good chats to Quade and that, and
yeah,
that really helped me. And yeah, I think I learnt a lot from that. Like obviously, it sucks to go through, but I think I'm one of the boys who did get to go through it, and I got that experience. So
yeah. Good from Quade to be able to step up as someone to speak to.
yeah, well, like I reached out to him a fair bit just because, like, obviously I didn't really have anyone else there.
Yeah,
So I'd speak to him a fair bit, and yeah, he was good. Like for someone who should have
what a
been there but
buffoon.
wasn't, like for him to kind of help me out the way he did was massive, and it kind of speaks volumes of who he is as a person.
You're right. What an experience to go through, and again, like being grateful for it. Yeah, only helps you move forward. Eh?
Yeah,